Why are you here? You're here to outwork. You're here to out-train. You're here to win.
Hey Stakes, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. Can you give me your thoughts on a good mindset to start practice with?
Definitely. Thanks, Mike, again for having me. So, I think a great mindset before practice is, gratitude is always the attitude, obviously, if you didn't notice. I think having a positive attitude and just being grateful for the opportunity always makes it a little bit better. You know, you appreciate everything and you're going to try a little bit harder because you know that if you think about so many other people can't pursue their passions and, in their free time. And if I'm going to wrestling practice, I get to, pursue my passion. I get to do what I like doing, even if, I don't like going to practice that day. And I think a lot of it is, a lot of the mindset is just, appreciation, but also just staying focused and just understanding that it's a journey. Like, I don't like brushing my teeth, but I want my teeth to be clean. I don't like eating healthy foods all the time, but I like feeling good. And like, obviously I'm not going to like drilling the same move over and over again every day, but I want to be as good as I can and I want to fulfill my potential. So I think during that mid-season drought when, things get really tough, if you can get through that, you can get through anything. So just understanding that that's going to come and, making a positive effort, an effort to understand that it's coming and just stay as positive as you can, because if you can get through that drought, I don't see what else you can't get through.
Gotcha. So a lot of kids might not always know what makes their life good.
Oh, especially nowadays, yeah.
Right.
I'm on that millennial cutoff. I know.
Are you? What generation are you? Half
mixed.
millennial, half
depends
Z?
on the argument. Millennial, Generation Z.
All right. So what makes your life good with respect to wrestling? You talked about, yeah. What do you appreciate about it?
About wrestling?
Yeah.
I think it's just really the character building that you can get out of it. I think especially with parents, my parents, always supported me if I won or lost, and that's so big as a parent. To know that you can go out there and give it your all, and if you do fail, like, you have somebody in the stands, whether it is a parent or a friend or somebody that still supports you, and that just makes it so much easier. And I really appreciate wrestling for giving me the work ethic and seeing how putting in work over time and just believing it, even though no one else believes it, that you can produce the result that maybe you visualized or you thought you couldn't do originally. And just building confidence over time. Wrestling's just done so much, for other parts of my life, and I can just relate it to pretty much anything I do. So.
Do your employers know that you wrestled and see that in your behavior?
So a lot of the reason, probably the main reason I got hired from my employer was because I wrestled. Both the guy that owns the company, his brother, and the main guy I work under that went to Wharton all wrestled, and they really appreciate what wrestling's done for them. My boss has done stuff that a lot of people think is unbelievable, and he always says that, everything he's done is tough, but nothing was ever as hard as getting through one wrestling season. So I think it's funny, but he's being as serious as possible, and I believe it. I think, if you can get through that wrestling season and still give an effort, you can do anything.
Nice. You started talking a little bit about it, but what can a parent do to help their young wrestler?
All right, so parents out there, I think you should be okay with letting your kid fail, because, failure is tough. It's obviously nobody wants to fail, and you don't want to see your kid go out there and lose and just feel terrible. Getting pinned is the worst thing ever. You're so vulnerable out there. It's just you versus other guy, and you're just getting dominated. But I think hitting that slump and hitting rock bottom is really the key to building good character, because after that you can only build up from there. And if you just support your child and push them along, and sometimes when they're down, maybe bring them up or just let them know that you're there, just over time that can build, and that builds character, that builds trust between you and your child. I think really that at the end of the day, life's going to be tough. There's going to be situations where you're going to feel like you hit rock bottom, but if you know that you've done it before and you've improved from there, you can do it again. So I think that's really a great thing for parents.
Anything else for the youth wrestling parent?
Yeah, definitely feed your kids more steak. I think a lot of these kids need to be eating more red meat. These days, you know, I'm seeing a lot of.
I'm laughing, but I agree.
Vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, which is fine. I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, but I'm not vegan. I think, you know, a little bit of red meat is okay. You know, these kids, they need to grow, and I think, you know, after a good wrestling practice, that's a great recovery.
You need protein, some fats that are
Protein,
good.
some good fats.
So are you on any specific diet or just the Steve Steaks diet?
I call it the team steak diet. So as many steaks as possible. As many steaks. Yeah, it's AMSAP instead of AMRAP for lifting. AMSAP. So as many steaks as possible. You know, I try to get in 4 a day, but 2 is always fine. At least 2. Mike actually, the guy behind the camera, the guy behind True Wrestling here, you know, he likes to stay hidden. I'm giving his name out. He just gave me this chimichurri sauce, correct? Chimichurri?
That's it, man.
So I'm going to start using that, see how that goes, because sometimes the steaks can get dull if you're eating them all the time, but definitely, it's a great diet. It's a great diet, and I feel amazing. So I think if I'm feeling amazing and I have all these different, you know, I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, but I can eat the steaks, I think that's definitely the move.
You're going into your senior year in college. What advice would you give to yourself as a youth wrestler right now?
Oh, wow. There's a lot looking back. I think the most important thing is really to just trust your coaches, because, you know, especially in the youth, like, whoever's coaching you, if you're watching this right now, you young wrestlers or parents, whoever's coaching, they're not obviously doing it for the money or the big bucks or the fame or whatever. Like, they're really just there to care and, like, you know, grow, let the kid grow, build your character, build your wrestling ability. And I really wish I would have listened to my coaches more back then. And just, I know at one point I was really just trying to learn as much as I can, soaking up like a sponge. But when I got to college, I really stopped listening to my coaches for a couple of years, and I think that held me back for a while. And I think just listening to your coaches and trusting that, and just really that's the whole thing, is belief. If you can just believe it and trust it, even though it's not working now, over time, I think that's powerful, and I think you can get anything done with that. So believe.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Yeah, anytime.